I think the reason why I made I Owe You Nothing was kind of because I'd been stuck for a couple of years, and I didn't really understand why I was making music. I was like, am I making music for myself? Am I making music for somebody else? And I realized that a lot of things had to do with what I thought other people expected of me, and I had to kind of free myself of that. So I started. It was just a freestyle. I hadn't heard the beat, so we do this thing in the studio called like beat roulette, when I just listen to. I get headphones, sit down, and I get beats that I haven't heard before. So I just started. So I didn't think about it too much, and then I had those words for like a year, and I had to kind of piece together what I wanted that song to be about. So it kind of started with a person, and then it kind of became society, and I kind of zoomed in and out of it. So that's like the long story about that song. I'm from Gambia, and I've made a lot of videos in Stockholm and Sweden, and I just thought that it would be a new part of me that I hadn't shown anyone that would be fun for people to see. And I'd kind of missed seeing a couple of things that I'd seen in Gambia, also in like pop culture, so I really wanted to show people that. It was great. I brought the team from Sweden, so the team was entirely from, not entirely. We had some production people from Gambia. That actually, now that I'm thinking about it, but it's wonderful. You know, everyone helps and everyone just makes the best out of the situation. It's like nothing is ideal because it's the smallest country in Africa, so they don't really have a lot. They had one camera, for example, and one filter for the camera in the whole country that we got to borrow and stuff like that. But everyone just like, I think, thought it was fun, and I thought it was fun to just see what we could do with what we had.
But what would you think? How did they see their future? Is it more like they see it positively, or they tend more to skepticism?
No, positive always. I think people that have, there's always a positive vibe. There's hope, you know. I think hope dies a little bit with comfort, and people are just happy and spirits are high, and they have, they think their future is bright, and it is. It's going to be all right. I was really, really young when I came to Gambia the first time, so I don't really remember that. I remember there being, of course, like different culture clashes, and my dad, for example, thought it was good for me to live with like my aunt and my grandma, and I didn't live with my parents, so just being a little kid, I was a little bit like, I felt a little bit lonely and scared of that. But now that I'm a grown up, I would definitely do it again because I learned so much from that. Coming back to Sweden, however, was worse because at that point I was more aware of things, and I came to a country where they'd comment on my skin color in a negative way, and in Gambia they would not. So I think that was kind of the start of me becoming very self-conscious and kind of seeing myself from the outside, in a way that was pretty brutal, I think, Yeah, absolutely. I wrote that song when I came back to Senegal, or back to Gambia, for the first time in quite a long time. I went by myself for 2 weeks to Dakar, and I was sitting by the pool. And I felt quite lonely because I'd gone there, by myself. And I didn't really understand what they were saying because they mix a lot of French in the Wolof, and I don't know French. But I still kind of really felt like I was supposed to be there. And so just as a writing exercise, I thought to myself, write it down on paper as simply as possible. So that's kind of how that song came about. I mean, in my mind, when you ask me that question, I don't compartmentalize myself like that. I'm as much from Gambia as from Sweden, and I don't think about how I am a Swede. So I don't think about how I am a Gambian. I think, of course, there are a billion things in me that's from Gambia. Gambia in Africa isn't so far away for me. It's very close to my kind of heart. But I guess also these countries are absolute polar opposites in some sense, but what unites them is still just human beings wanting to feel needed and wanting to feel like they have a place in society. And so I don't really know if there's anything in particular that's actually important. Sometimes I feel like answering that question kind of broadens the gap between things. Do you understand what I mean?
You think maybe the focus is too much on the differences than on
the things that put us together, yeah. And it's a sense of like making things feel exotic or different. And it's really not. It's really not that different, you know. It was just there. I mean, he always made music, and in particular when we came to Gambia, I was really, really young, but I remember the first time he recorded a music video, for example. And that was the thing. I was like, what is this weird thing? But I've always been around musicians and people that play and sing and a lot of music and show. And my dad was really like a character in real life as well. So it wasn't that, you know, he'd turn on and off and he was dad at home and then he'd be like superstar on stage. He was just a superstar all the time kind of thing, you know. So it wasn't like a matter of, wow, daddy does this. But it was quite different. I mean, I already got like special treatment because I was light skinned in Gambia. But like the extra special treatment that I could get for having a famous dad was crazy. But then what my parents did was actually they put me in schools. We could afford better schools, but they put me in like the slum areas, and I had a school that didn't have a roof and windows and things, and so I really had to be with the people. So I understood that, you know, my dad was famous, but I should just relax myself.
Quite a good approach, isn't it?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I was like, hello, but now I get it. I think I grew up more on reggae music. My parents played a lot of reggae. And when I started to find my own musical taste, it was urban Black American music. But then again, I've always had mbalach, which is, for example, the genre that Youssou makes, and my dad did too. I've always had that around, so it's definitely like a part of my fiber. I think unconsciously, because to be honest, really, it's only like the last 2 years or something that I started liking the music a lot and listening to it because I liked it, but I've always heard it. And I can absolutely hear the way maybe my melodies mimic those things without me even thinking about it. Or for example, the fact that I really love CeeLo, and his voice is very close to like a West African kind of tone. Like I can't really explain, but he sings like a West African singer in a lot of ways. And this time around when I went to Dakar, I actually met with Youssou, and I remember realizing the amount of songs that I knew of his and the way that they'd just been in my life, you know. So I have a great appreciation for it, and I'm very like curious to know more and to go back and to really delve into it. But there's also a thing of me being super scared of singing songs like that because they're hard, like they're difficult in another way, you know. It's another technique, and I just have so much respect for it. It's absolutely the same thing that happens in all areas when it comes to any culture that isn't Western, where we try to make it seem like it doesn't have nuance, that people look the same, act the same, everything's the same. And I think it's a desperate need to simplify, to understand, to control. But of course, there are different genres. Of course, a Black person makes rock music and sings opera and makes a pop song, you know, all in the diaspora. But I think it's getting a lot better, and I'm really happy for that because, all right, world music is a cute term, like world music. Everything is world music, I guess, but it doesn't make any sense, really. I mean, to me, it's really hard. To be honest, like I could sit here and have an intelligent answer that sounds like like I'm sure of things. But the other day, somebody told me, "I really love the country Africa. I just love the culture." And then this morning, a girl that I thought would not be able to do my makeup because she looked just like my mom. She was blonde and blue-eyed. Did my makeup great. I don't know. I don't know, because being sensitive to these things is every other person. It's every other person, you know. And you're sitting here interviewing me about this, and you're you know, you this is what you love and what you want to talk about, but still nobody in your crew is black. So I don't know anymore. Like, it's hard for me to decide or to understand. But I think what I tried to do is to be free and live in the moment and try to connect and help, you know, people. And as long as you do that, and as long as that's your attentive, you'll get somewhere. But I cannot answer that question properly, you know, because it's not clear to me at all what's happening. And of course, you know, on a good day, I'm optimistic, but on a bad day, it's just dark. Because it's not fun to walk around here and feeling like you're not a part of society. Some days I don't even have energy to analyze it, because it's like, it makes me sad. Like, I can't change my skin color. My father lived in the country, you know, for 20 years and never felt at home. He was a wonderful person, you know. So I don't know. But I hope so. I really hope so.